On a cold November night in 1992, three teenage girls from Alcàsser, Spain, Miriam, Tony, and Desiree, went out for what they thought would be a regular night of fun. The air was crisp, and the excitement of the weekend was palpable. They'd been planning this night for weeks, eager to escape the monotony of their small town and experience the vibrant nightlife of the nearby town of Picassent. They wanted to go to a popular club in the nearby town of Picassent. It was the place to be, where the music was loud and the energy was electric. The girls had heard so much about it and couldn't wait to see it for themselves. They snuck out and got a ride with someone they knew. It was a common practice among the youth in the area, a way to get around without the hassle of public transport. They felt safe and excited, chatting and laughing as they made their way to the club. They were excited for a night of music, dancing, and having a good time. The club was everything they had imagined. The lights, the music, the crowd. They danced and enjoyed themselves, feeling free and alive. Hours went by and morning came, but the girls didn't come home. The streets of Alcàsser were quiet as the sun rose, but the absence of the girls was starting to be felt. Their families got worried and then really scared when they couldn't reach them. Phone calls went unanswered, and the usual places they might have gone were checked, but there was no sign of them. They told the police the girls were missing. The authorities took the report seriously, knowing that time was of the essence in such cases. Everyone started searching, and the small, close-knit community became very afraid. Neighbors, friends, and even strangers joined in the search, hoping to find any clue that might lead to the girls. As days turned into weeks, hope faded away, and people started to think something terrible had happened to the three friends. The initial shock turned into a deep, gnawing fear that something sinister was at play. Alcàsser, once a peaceful town, became filled with sadness. The disappearance of the girls cast a long shadow over the community, changing the atmosphere from one of tranquility to one of sorrow and anxiety. Pictures of the girls were put up everywhere, and they became a sad reminder of the mystery that worried the whole country. The faces of Miriam, Tony, and Desiree looked out from posters on every street corner, a constant reminder of the tragedy that had struck the town. No one knew that this disappearance would uncover something much worse than they could ever imagine. The true horror of what happened that night was yet to be revealed, and it would shake the community to its core. 75 long, painful days after the girls disappeared, something terrible happened. The families of Miriam, Tony, and Desiree had been living in a state of constant dread and anxiety, hoping for a miracle but fearing the worst. The entire community was on edge, with every passing day feeling like an eternity. Two beekeepers were in a remote area called La Romana. This area, known for its quiet and isolation, was the last place anyone would expect to find a clue about the missing girls. Their bees were acting strange, buzzing a lot, so they went to check on them. The unusual behavior of the bees led the beekeepers to investigate further, thinking it might be a disturbance in the hive or a predator nearby. They found a shallow grave. The sight was chilling, with the disturbed earth hinting at something sinister buried beneath. It was a horrible scene that would never be forgotten in Spanish history. The discovery marked a dark chapter, one that would haunt the memories of those who lived through it. There in the empty landscape were the bodies of Miriam, Tony, and Desiree. The forensic team worked meticulously, documenting every detail of the tragic scene. Their bodies were badly decomposed and showed signs of horrible cruelty. The level of violence inflicted upon them was beyond comprehension, leaving the investigators deeply disturbed. The girls had been tortured, sexually assaulted, and treated so brutally that everyone in Spain was shocked. The brutality of the crime sent shockwaves through the nation, sparking outrage and sorrow. The news spread quickly, and the whole country heard the terrible details. Media outlets covered the story extensively, and it became the main topic of conversation everywhere. Pictures of the girls' things, a blue fanny pack, a worn-out shoe, were found near the grave. These personal items, once mundane, now carried a heavy emotional weight. These things became symbols of lost innocence, and everyone felt even more sad and angry. The community came together to mourn, leaving flowers and candles at makeshift memorials. The case of the Alcàsser girls wasn't just a local tragedy, it became something the whole nation was obsessed with, both captivated and horrified. The story of their suffering and the quest for justice united people across Spain, leaving an indelible mark on the national consciousness. When the police started investigating the murders, they ran into lots of problems. There were dead ends, confusing evidence, and a lot of pressure from the media and the public to find answers quickly. It seemed like there was a break in the case when the police arrested two men who were known to hang around the area where the girls were last seen. One of them, Antonio Angles, had a history of violence and sexual assault, which made him the main suspect. But even with everyone watching and wanting answers, the case against Angles and the other man, Miguel Ricard, started to fall apart. Evidence like DNA analysis, which was new in Spain at the time, wasn't clear. People who said they saw things told different stories, and people started talking about the police making mistakes and maybe even hiding things. This made the investigation look bad. Because there weren't clear answers, and because it seemed like the police weren't doing a good job, people got very angry and frustrated. Alcàsser, which was already a symbol of a terrible loss, became a place where people focused their anger at the authorities. There were protests all over the country, with thousands of people marching and demanding justice for Miriam, Tony, and Desiree. The girls' families were suddenly in the spotlight, and they became strong voices for change. They never stopped asking for a better investigation, and a system that cared about finding the truth. The Alcàsser case, with its horrible violence, problems with the investigation, and the strong emotions of everyone involved, showed the problems with the Spanish justice system. It was a wake-up call that affected many people beyond just what happened that November night. Even though Miguel Ricard was arrested and sent to prison for 170 years, the Alcàsser case was still a mystery. Antonio Angles, the main suspect, disappeared. No one knew where he went, and there were many theories. Some people thought he escaped to South America with help from other people, while others thought he had died at sea or was hiding somewhere. Because no one knew what happened to Angles, the case felt even more unsettling. Also, the problems with the investigation, the rumors of a cover-up, and the possibility of other people being involved made people believe in conspiracy theories. The Alcàsser case didn't have a real ending. It was like an open wound, a reminder that sometimes finding truth and justice is very hard. The Alcàsser murders were a turning point for Spain. The case showed problems with its legal system, its forensic science, and how the media could influence what people thought. After the tragedy, people wanted more honesty in investigations, better forensic technology, and more support for victims of violent crimes. The case showed that even in modern times, bad things can happen, and finding justice can be long and difficult. The families of Miriam, Tony, and Desiree, whose lives were changed forever, became symbols of strength and determination. Their fight for answers, their refusal to let people forget, showed the power of love and the importance of finding the truth. Even though the Alcàsser case showed problems with the Spanish justice system, it also led to important changes. People wanted those responsible to be held accountable and for things to be more transparent. This led to new rules for investigations and a new focus on forensic science. The case showed how important DNA evidence was, and Spain created a national DNA database. It also showed that police needed better training and resources, especially for investigating crime scenes and helping victims. The changes in forensic science, the increased awareness of violence against women, and the continuing efforts to improve the justice system are all part of the legacy of the Alcàsser case. The tragedy, as terrible as it was, led to positive change. Even though many years have passed, the Alcàsser murders are still remembered in Spain. The case, with its unanswered questions and lingering doubts, is still talked about and debated. Where is Antonio Angles, and what did he do, if anything, in the murders? Were other people involved? And if so, why haven't they been caught? What really happened that night in November 1992? And why were 3 innocent girls treated so cruelly? These questions are like ghosts from the past, and the answers seem lost in a maze of theories and unanswered pleas for truth. The Alcàsser case is a scary reminder of the bad things people can do, and shows how some mysteries remain unsolved. The Alcàsser murders had a huge impact on Spanish society. The brutal nature of the crime and the young age of the victims shocked the nation to its core. It was a story that dominated headlines and became a focal point of public discourse. It was a terrifying reminder of how vulnerable innocent people are, and how quickly a sense of safety can be shattered. The fear and anxiety were palpable, as people grappled with the reality that such a heinous act could happen in their own community, and how hard it can be to find justice. The legal system, often seen as a beacon of hope, struggled to provide answers. The courtroom battles, the endless investigations, and the constant media scrutiny only added to the complexity of the case. The case is officially unsolved, but people are still looking for answers, tirelessly sifting through evidence and re-examining old leads. The determination to uncover the truth remains strong, even as the years go by, especially the victims' families and a nation changed by the tragedy. The families of Miriam, Tony, and Desiree have become symbols of resilience, their unwavering quest for justice inspiring many. Time may have passed, but people still remember Miriam, Tony, and Desiree. Their memories are kept alive through vigils, memorials, and the collective consciousness of a society that refuses to forget. Tony and Desiree. Their story is a poignant reminder of the fragility of life and the enduring impact of loss. Their story reminds us how important it is to find justice for victims of violent crimes. Public rallies and protests continue to call for accountability, urging authorities to keep the case open and active, and to keep working to make a safer and more just world. Community initiatives and safety programs have been implemented, driven by the desire to prevent such tragedies from happening again. As long as there are unanswered questions and doubts, the Alcàsser case will continue to fascinate and haunt those who want to close this dark chapter in Spanish history. The mystery surrounding the case has led to numerous theories and speculations, each adding another layer to the enigma. The Alcàsser case will continue to fascinate and haunt those who want to close this dark chapter in Spanish history. Documentaries, books, and articles keep the story alive, ensuring that the quest for truth is never forgotten. The search for truth, even though it's difficult, shows the strength of the human spirit. The relentless pursuit of answers, despite the obstacles, is a testament to the resilience and determination of those involved, shows the strength of the human spirit and the belief that even in the darkest times, justice will win in the end. The community's solidarity and support for the victims' families highlight the power of collective action and hope, and the belief that even in the darkest times, justice will win in the end. The enduring hope for justice serves as a beacon of light, guiding the way through the darkness and reminding us all of the importance of never giving up.